And then I dealt with Spielberg. It's a really funny story, actually. When we first met Spielberg, they lined us up like meeting the Queen, the whole band, right? He'd ignored us for like 3 days, just casting us like really weird glances, like these guys in like all this costume and stuff. And he'd never worked with anyone but John Williams for his sound scores. And so he didn't know what to make of us. He doesn't listen to rock. He listens to classical. His biggest foray into rock is U2. He thinks U2 is okay. All right, so he comes to meet us, and we all have to have our head bowed like the Queen. I was at the end of the line, and the rest of the band shook his hand and all this stuff.
Did you curtsy?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. This is true. And so the rest of the band, like, nodded their head and shook his hand, and I was at the end in full costume, and I went like, Steven, baby, this band's going to walk today. We're not doing this because we were told by Kubrick that AI was called Anal Intruder.
Okay.
And it was a porn film, and we just can't do this film. And his handler that was sitting next to him taking notes as he's going through shaking hands, Spielberg goes walking off, and his handler goes running, going, wait, there's a mistake, Mr. Spielberg. Oh, my God. And then I had to run with him in this 50 pounds of, like, makeup and, like, gear that they had me wearing and just go, wait, I was just kidding. You know? And he finally came back, and then me and him got to be friends. So I'm never just a word about Steven Spielberg, except for the fact that I know what the original treatment was for that movie, and
yes,
and wow, that movie would have been a statement, and the rest of it was like a really bad E.T. And I told Spielberg that to his face, so it's not like, I'm like, oh my God, spilling the beans.
No, I understand. Al Jourgensen. Now, back to Stanley Kubrick. What do you think of films like Eyes Wide Shut and the fact that at Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove, the people that are claiming they're big Christian conservatives, speaking of gay sex, are engaged in that and all sorts of Satanism?
Let's go to Bohemian Grove. I'm into that. That's just like, well, listen, the whole Republican Party is based on hypocrisy, all right? I'm sorry. It is. It's based on hypocrisy. First of all, they're pro-life, okay? Yet they're the ones that procure wars that end life and kill countless civilians. But they're pro-life. They're more worried about the fetus at inception than they are about a full-grown adult with a wife and kids. They want to cut veteran benefits. They want to cut everything, yet they want to start wars. So they're not pro-life, okay? So that's just BS right from the start. I mean, they're hypocrisy waiting to happen, the Republican Party. And I'm not a Democrat either, because, listen, 99% of all are owned by their corporate overlords.
All right, Al, stay there. Al Jourgensen, we got to go to break. You're going to do 2 more segments with us, and we got Bob Chapman coming up, and hopefully we can have him back up again sometime to take your calls. Or maybe we'll take a few right now. 800-259-9231. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We'll be back on the other side. All right, we are back live, and truly an iconic industrial metal band. Really spurred so much of the music that we see today, really changed the world in a big way. I mean, art is powerful.
Don't blame me. I hate this new crap.
Al Jourgensen is our guest in true rock and roll form. Al, we were talking during the break, and you heard me tell the guys to come in with the song from one of your last albums, Rio Grande Blood, and you said, boy, 9/11 really gets me. I mean, isn't 9/11 more than just Pearl Harbor, where they knew it was going to happen and had broken the codes and let it happen? I mean, 9/11, when you really look at it, hijackers trained at U.S. bases, NORAD stand-down, passports that magically survive. I mean, what did you think the day of 9/11, Al?
Well, I remember I was living in Austin at the time, and I remember waking up to, like, some disturbing news, and I watched the visual, and I thought, did I change the channel while I was asleep? Because this is the Saturday Night Live spoof. I couldn't believe it, okay? And then I started digging into that and realizing that it's the same overlords that I've been talking about with our mouthpiece president that resurrected something to what you said, a 30-year plan to destroy the markets and then resurrect them or whatever. And, yeah, I mean, it all made sense right away. It took me about 10 minutes to realize it wasn't a Saturday Night Live spoof. And no offense to the victims of that, because I certainly in no way demean their pain and loss. But just, you can understand where I'm coming from. I thought it was a joke. Are you kidding me? And then realizing where it's coming from. Okay, Bush is the mouthpiece, Cheney's the puppet master, and then there's the overlords. So it kind of started to make sense to me to rebuild. The economy got up to 14,000 on the Dow during Bush, all right? Working on our credit card, okay, which is now in debate, which the Republicans were so happy to vote for while Bush was in office. 14,000 on the Dow. Now, by the time we're done, by the end of this week, we'll be down below 11, okay? You know, and this is all part to make Obama look bad. It's going to backfire on the Republicans. I think people are just going to, like, not even know who's running and just vote Democratic next year.
Well, I mean, Al, come on. You're right about the Republicans. They positioned us along with the bankers for default. We're already technically defaulted, so they are playing politics here, and the whole thing's a distraction at the end of the day because of the hyperinflation that's already beginning. But, I mean, do you believe the Bin Laden killing thing?
This is all true. This is all true. You're absolutely right. But if we had a Democratic Congress and Democratic Senate, okay, do you really think we're just going to spend money like drunken sailors and run this country into the ground and just have our, like, great-great-great-grandchildren in debt and, like, default and all that? No. They're going to start building infrastructure Republicans don't want to do. They're going to start repairing things that need to be repaired Republicans don't want to do. Is it going to mean higher taxes for the wealthy? Yes. Sorry. I'm the wealthy. And I'm willing
No, you're right. They're going to get people like Al, who's worth 10, 20, 30 million. I don't know what you're worth. They're going to come after you, but they're going to leave the Rothschilds and Rockefellers alone. Back in 1 minute. Stay with us. Well, Al Jourgensen, the founder and head of ministry, next time he comes to Austin, he says he's going to come in studio with us. So that's going to be exciting. And you know what adds a lot of credibility to him thinking something really bad's coming, and I hope it's not the case, is that I've been out in Wimberley and places, and there's all these scientists and former government people, even who are young, who've been out there 10, 15, 20 years saying these are our doomsteads. It's all going to implode. And then I run into microbiologists, and they say, well, you're right about everything, Alex. But, you know, I mean, the point is they are setting up for something big. And I believe that they're instituting it, but who knows what they really know. They never, 5 of the 6 reactors at Fukushima blew up within a week. They knew it had happened, worse than Chernobyl, and they lied and told us everything was fine. Al, what's your take on all of this craziness?
Well, I do think something's coming, if anything, for the fact that, like I said, Dennis McClung, 2012supplies.com, playing on the survivalist, instinct of selling everything from gas masks to, like, homegrown garden kits, hydroponics, all this shit. Sorry, I said shit. Anyways, I'm trying. But the government has bought most of the stuff. He's having a hard time finding supplies. Why is the government buying all the supplies, okay, and not letting free enterprise? This isn't just Obama. Oh, Obama's going to ruin us all. This is like the government has been planning this for a long time. Now, like I said, how it comes by, I don't know. And what a magnetic shift does, I don't know. It depends on if the continental plates shift. What a solar flare does, well, obviously that screws up our electronics. What an asteroid does that it's not telling us about. I mean, we're supposed to have a close one in 2029 within 100,000 miles and blah, 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 and this and that, and it might not. But I just find it amusing that the government is buying up all the survival supplies. I mean, don't you find that weird?
Well, I hope that you're wrong. I hope that it's not going to be this complete collapse. I mean, they do.
Dude, I hope that I'm wrong, too, because, like I said, I'm not spending my life in some road warrior world where I got to defend my food supplies with AR-15s, M16s, Kalashnikovs, Glocks, gas masks, grenades. Is that a way to live? I'd rather throw a party and put a Beretta through my roof of my mouth and just call it a day.
Al, don't do that at the first sign of trouble. If things get bad, roll with it. I mean, it's going to be entertaining. There's nothing more exciting than combat with roving hordes.
I really don't find protecting my compound with a large squad against marauding survivalist intenders as a life, okay? Which is why I, kind of like rebuked you, maybe falsely, but, is gold and silver really going to matter? Is anything going to matter?
Yeah, when the dollar goes belly up, that, in every case in history, gold and silver and copper and guns and food and whiskey and cigarettes and nylon stockings and makeup, stuff like that, and guts, and like you said, friends. Let me tell you something. They're going to go pick off people on the road if this actually happens. They're not going to mess with something with 10-foot walls and razor wire because they know that there's machine guns on the other side of it.
Hey, the more desperate people get, 10-foot walls seem like 2-foot walls, okay? So, you can't underestimate survival tactics.
All right, Al, stay there. We're going to do 5 more minutes with the other side. You promised to come in studio. That's going to be amazing. And we're going to come back. Bob Chapman's waiting in the wings on economics. So I maybe going to have him. He's a great economist, researcher. You guys can banter a bit about gold because I think that's an interesting discussion. Our guest is the founder of Ministry. And we'll be right back on the other side.